New hard-hitting evidence has just been released against YSL rapper Young Thug. Law enforcement stated during a press conference that there is new wiretap evidence against the YSL founder, as rapper Young Thug allegedly put a hit towards YFN Lucci over a cell phone. Now, in the evidence files, it states this, and I quote, "Garlington and Quantavius, associates of YSL, was speaking over a cell phone to an incarcerated Fulton County inmate. They discussed protecting an incarcerated YSL associate from rival team members. Garlington and Quantavius, while speaking over a cell phone to an incarcerated county inmate, discussed going after another Fulton County jail inmate who had just recently went after a YSL associate locked up at the county jail. Garlington and Quantavius did unlawfully commit the felony offense of conspiracy to possess telecommunications devices by an inmate, while speaking over a cell phone to an incarcerated Fulton County jail inmate. They discussed a plan to tape cell phones to a drone and carry the cell phones beyond the guard lines to a window located in the county jail. Now, it's no secret that Young Thug is being jailed at Fulton County. So is YFN Lucci. And to simplify what this evidence truly means, associates of YSL made a plan to tape cell phones to a drone and then fly the drone over the jail fences to a window located in the jail. Now, obviously, law enforcement watched the drone fly in as they have security cameras. Rather than stopping the drone and confiscating the cell phones, they allowed the cell phone to be used by inmates as they then wiretapped the phone. Now, with super creative police work, law enforcement tapped these cell phones to gain information about the YSL case, which was obviously super successful as they learned that YSL members, allegedly Young Thug, put a hit towards YFN Lucci. Now, this evidence is getting released after Young Thug's lawyer forced the judge to give Young Thug a better jail cell. It was just released by Young Thug's lawyer this statement. Young Thug's lawyer filed an emergency motion in hopes of getting him released immediately on bond. Why the urgency? Well, attorney Brian Steele says the YSL honcho is being held in total isolation in a windowless cement compartment with only a bed and a toilet. He adds that the jail cell has an overhead light that remains on 24 hours a day, preventing Young Thug from getting any sleep. Further, Steele says that Thug has no access to the media or opportunity to exercise, shave, or have any human contact. And don't even get him started on the food menu. According to his attorney, Young Thug is getting a tray of an inedible food. Steele included the quotes around the food though sarcastically. While it sounds like he's basically describing a stereotypical jail cell, Steele says the conditions violate Young Thug's constitutional rights, in particular the 8th and 14th Amendments. Now, with Young Thug's team trying everything they can to get him released from jail, the judge sadly isn't budging. Both Young Thug and Gunna's request for bond were rejected very quickly while they had their hearings before a judge. According to law enforcement, both rappers are among the 28 named in the Fulton County District Attorney's indictment for the RICO Act. During the court hearing, law enforcement announced that Young Thug will be facing 7 additional felony charges. This is most likely why he is being held in such a bad jail cell. These charges are for narcotics and firearms after the police raided his mansion on Monday, May 9th. Young Thug's lawyers tried negotiating the state's decision on Young Thug being denied bond. Judge Wolf finds the rapper to be a flight risk, as well as a risk of interfering with the current RICO case and a risk of committing even more felonies if he does get released. Young Thug's attorney Brian Steele asked the judge to reconsider. Considering his client's ties to the Atlanta area, Steele also offered to take custody of the rapper's passport and suggested that the court could order Young Thug to wear an ankle monitor and confine him to his home. Sadly, Judge Wolf declined Steele's recommendations, citing the risk of Young Thug possibly committing additional felonies. Both Young Thug and Gunna will remain in custody at the Fulton County Jail until further notice, but it could be with this court hearing where Young Thug was moved to a much better living facility within the jail. And then this is where it comes into play, where did Young Thug's new jail cell have a window? Does that window open, and did they fly a drone into his jail cell, giving him a cell phone? And well, law enforcement actually gave us the answer to that question. But they first shared a timeline of what happened the day Young Thug and 28 members were arrested. They said the night of May 9th, breaking news was released. Rappers Young Thug and Gunna among 28 defendants charged in a 56-count indictment in Fulton County. The 56-count grand jury indictment charges 28 members and associates of Young Slime Life, otherwise known as YSL. The indictment includes charges of conspiring to violate the racketeer, influenced, and corrupt organizations known as the RICO Act, as well as armed robbery and participation in criminal street activity. News TV captured this exclusive image of authorities taking Young Thug into custody earlier this evening. And here's even bonus footage of Young Thug getting arrested. According to the 56-count indictment, Young Thug is facing charges of participation in street activity and conspiring to violate the Racketeer, Influenced, and Corrupt Organizations Act known as RICO. Gunna is also facing one count of conspiring to violate RICO. After reviewing the 88-page indictment, there are very serious allegations against Young Thug. In court, prosecutors say that YSL is a criminal street team that started in late 2012 in the Cleveland Avenue area of Atlanta. YSL claims affiliation with the National Red. YSL's founders were Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug, Walter Murphy, aka DK, and Trontavious Stevens, aka Tick. Young Thug is accused of renting a 2014 Infiniti Q50 sedan from the company known as Hertz, which was used in the commission of the passing of Donovan Thomas Jr., a rival street member on January 10th, 2015, and according to the indictment, prosecutors alleged that the two associates of YSL, known as Christian and Antonio, worked to get permission of Young Thug to make a second attempt on YFN Lucci while he's jailed in Fulton County. Prosecutors say that Sergio Kitchens, known as Gunna, an associate of YSL, is accused of appearing in a video released on social media titled Fox 5 wearing a YSL pendant and slat pendant, with lyrics stating, "We got 1,000 rounds." Now this is where it gets interesting, as in that official court document, it states that two members of YSL, known as Christian and Antonio, were asking Young Thug's permission to have one more chance at YFN Lucci, as Lucci is also being jailed within Fulton County. Now I don't know if this evidence is from the wiretap evidence that I shared earlier in the video, where allegedly a YSL member gives permission for other members to go at Lucci, but if that is the case, that will then mean that Young Thug technically just self-snitched on himself. Now the Young Thug and YFN Lucci beef has been getting investigated for years. Over the weekend of August 18th, 2019, Lucci posted this to his Instagram story to tell his followers on how he felt about Young Thug's new album titled So Much Fun. While Young Thug fans had nothing but praise for the album, YFN Lucci appears to denounce the LP, calling it a cap album. Lucci wrote in his Instagram story saying, "Boy almost went number 2 on himself in Linux, no cap." Now I had to change the word he used, but you understand. On Young Thug's song Just How It Is, he says this in the lyrics. "Last man who tried me almost got hit in Linux. Ask the cops, ask the detectives, they know all the business." Now it didn't take long for Lucci's IG story to catch Young Thug's attention. In his own Instagram story, Young Thug didn't hold back against YFN Lucci. As in the story, Young Thug says that he would have ended Lucci in the past if he didn't respect that the rapper is a family man. Young Thug says, "At YFN Lucci, if it ain't what you do for your mother and kids, I would've you." Now you can guess what he said. This is what originally got the attention of the feds a few years ago, and they've been looking into this ever since. The Young Thug and YFN Lucci beef dates all the way back to 2017, when the YSL Records founder crowned himself as the new Tupac after dropping his album. Shortly, YFN Lucci seemingly went after Thug, saying Tupac would have never wore a dress. But it's not until Young Thug said this in 2017. When Young Thug was supposed to go on tour with MGK, he hopped on Instagram Live to hype up the tour. Now in that Instagram Live, he claimed that he would deal with YFN Lucci on site. During the live session, YFN Lucci stepped in. He responded saying, "Hey man, stop tagging me in that stuff." Lucci said he ain't gonna deal with nobody, which is one thing that someone needs to teach all of the rappers in the industry. Anything you say over social media gets kept in a vault against you by the feds. They will continue stacking up everything you say on social media that breaks the law or is known as criminal street activity. Then once they have an entire vault built up of evidence, this is where they start coming after you. They wait for you to slip up, break a crime, and they arrest you on the spot. And this is how it all started today with Young Thug. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm out. Peace.